What's going on, guys? We are coming to you live. This is going to be another exciting event here. We have the first season, the first season of the ladder is over. This is the second season of the ladder tournament, and we have on the left Joker Jake versus Surrender. On the right, it's going to be Viserai versus Dorinthea. And both players are using relatively standard equipment for this matchup. So Joker Jake has equipped the Arcanite Skullcap here. The Arcane Barrier part of this will not be useful against Dorinthea, but the physical armor is good. He has the Bloodsheath Skeleta, which will allow him some nice physical armor, plus he will be able to destroy it in order to discount his stuff based on the number of rune chants that he has in play. And he has the Grasp of the Arknight, giving him good physical armor and the ability to create a rune chant. And he has his Mage Master Boots. This is the main one that's an interesting pick in my view in this matchup. So Mage Master Boots are going to allow him to be more efficient with a non-attack action. The other main option that I would see there would be the Iron Rot Boots. Surrender, on the other hand, has a pretty standard thing. He goes first, plays a yellow Warrior's Valor, so this is going to buff his Dawnblade. His next weapon attack will gain +2, and if this hits the attack, gains Go Again. Warrior's Valor then itself has Go Again. So then the Dawnblade is coming in for 5, and we will see what happens here. It is the first turn, so there's an opportunity for a heavy block, and that's exactly what happens. We see a triple block from hand with 2 Slogisms and a... what's that top card? It is a Amplify the Arknight. So Joker Jake probably fine with having those cards come out of hand, as they weren't going to be that effective this turn anyway. He also still has a copy of Sink Below, a strong defense reaction that he might be able to use in order to try to thwart Warrior's plan. So this matchup is pretty interesting, depending on what exactly the Runeblade is doing. It is potentially either going to be one where there's a lot of build-up, or one where there's going to be kind of more of a war between 2 aggro decks. So this looks like build-up. So he played this card, Oath of the Arknight. It gives your next Runeblade attack in the turn +1 and creates a rune chant, but he was just using it in order to get another rune chant token. He didn't actually make an attack. I don't know if he's going for like one of the heavy OTK one-turn kill style Runeblade decks, but at least what he's done thus far would seem to indicate that he's planning to build up a bit. We'll have to see how that goes. On Surrender's side, he's going to go for another Warrior's Valor, this time a red. Your next weapon attack this turn gains +3, and if this hits, the attack gains Go Again. It itself has Go Again, coming in for a total of 6 damage. And if this hits, it will get Go Again, and looks like it's going to be blocking 9, so that's going to be an overblock. The reason that we're seeing more cards used to block than are needed is because this sort of tactic allows you to protect yourself from a potential attack reaction, which Warrior has a lot of, and indeed there are 2 attack reactions in hand and 1 in arsenal. Now, Surrender's having some trouble here economy-wise with not much blue, but now he sees some blue, which should be good. Joker Jake is just going to draw and pass. This is again indicative of a potential big setup type plan, where he is not necessarily trying to do all that much. Okay, so he uses his Tunic, he pitches the Time Snap Potion and swings his Dawnblade for 3. No blocks, 3 damage gets in. Surrender is going to break his Refraction Bolters. When your weapon attack hits, you may destroy Refraction Bolters. If you do, the attack gains Go Again. His Dorinthea Iron Song ability means when his weapon hits, he can attack an additional time with that weapon this turn. So that's going to be another attack coming in, this time for 3. It's going to be blocked for 3. And now I think we're going to see, so a attack reaction from hand. It's the Iron Song response. If a defending hero has defended with a card from their hand this chain link, target weapon attack gains +3. Now that Sink Below comes out of Arsenal for 4, so we're blocking a total of 7. The floating resource is used to play a Razor Reflex from hand using the second option, the first option, target sword or dagger, weapon attack gains +3. That means there's a total of 9 versus 7, so he hits for 2, because he hit with the Dawnblade a second time, he gets a +1 counter. So that was a pretty good situation for Surrender. The only issue being that he did break his Brave Forge Bolters relatively early. Once again, Joker Jake opts to just Arsenal and draw up. I think he's trying to draw into some real build-up type stuff, try to get maybe some cards like Read the Runes, play those, and just get some more rune chants out on the board. And we'll have to see if that's his strategy here, but at least to me it looks like he's going for kind of a bigger play. Thank you for the follow, Fazail, and my apologies if I mispronounced that. Much appreciated. So this time we're going to see a Glint the Quicksilver pitched here for a Dawnblade swing for 4. Another Glint is then played to give the attack go again. It does not get reprise. So reprise, if the defending hero is defended with a card from their hand, this chain link, draw a card. Sorry, what's going on with the energy this turn? Okay, yeah. So this I don't know why he used the Tunic. So the Tunic charges up 1 counter per turn, and then once you have 3, it stops charging, but you can remove the 3 to gain 1 energy. I'm not sure why he used the Tunic. I think he didn't realize he had leftover energy. So he kind of used his Tunic unnecessarily there, unless he's trying to save this energy for a big play later. So his first attack hit for 4. Now his second attack is coming in for 4, and if it hits, he will get a +1 counter. Looks like we're going to see a triple block with 3 pieces of equipment, each blocking for 2. That's going to block a total of 6. And he throws a card in as well, blocking... Wow, he throws 2 cards in. He's blocking 11. That is an intense block. He may be trying to get around a potential route or red overpower, which could come in for a huge number. I'm not sure this was necessarily a great move. I think if you're trying to do a giant block like this, I would personally want to do it on the first attack rather than the second one, because Surrender needs to land that first attack with his Dawnblade in order to get the ability to swing again with Dorinthea. On the other hand, I suppose that if Joker Jake had done the huge block, we might have seen that Glint being used. So Glint only draws a card if the opponent defended with a card from hand. It was played without that, so it didn't draw. Oh, wow. Singing Steelblade coming out. +1, and then it's going to search for an attack reaction. So now we're at a total of 5 damage here. He does get the red overpower. So he can play that for +6, pitching that card. Yeah, so he pitches a blue for +6. Now he's at 10, and then he plays the red out for blood from Arsenal for another 3. Wow. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. 14. And that is actually going to overblock. That's actually going to get through that giant overblock and get Surrender a second Dawnblade counter. That was a surprising chain of events. I'm not sure I would have pushed that hard to try to break through, but on the other hand, because he had those other cards remaining and they were sort of going to go to waste, that I guess that's okay. I don't know. I was surprised by how that went, but I think Surrender is probably quite happy to have 2 Dawnblade counters. Generally, if you can build up those Dawnblade counters as Dorinthea, that really puts the opponent in a difficult position. 28 to 40 life, and Joker Jake has only managed to build up 2 rune chants. Once again, he just passes without doing anything. I think he's getting unlucky here. He's not finding his non-attack actions that he wants to use to create rune chants with either on their own or through Viserai's ability. Once again, drawing into his current hand is 3 attacks and 1 attack reaction. And I think the attacks that he has are too expensive to actually play here. Though he could use... Does he have the... Yeah, he could actually use his Bloodsheath Skeleton to make an attack, even though he only has a meager 2 energy. So if he uses Bloodsheath Skeleton, This will discount his next attack action and non-attack action by 1 for each rune chant he controls. So he could use Blood Sheath here. He discounts his next attack by 2. And that could then be used to, for instance, play Arknight Ascendancy, because it's already discounted by 1 for each rune chant. It would be discounted by a total of 2 for each rune chant. Only cost 2, and he could pitch something in play. He's gonna try to stop the counters again. He goes for a heavy block. He's gonna be blocking 9 here. And we see a Stroke of Foresight played. Target weapon attack gains +3, and because the defending hero has defended with a card from hand, Surrender gets to draw a card and then put one from hand on top or bottom. He draws his top card, which is a yellow glint, and opts to send it to the bottom. He's currently at strength 8. And he's then going to throw in another Stroke of Foresight. That one is going to put the attack up to strength 11. Once again, he's managing to push through the overblock. This time he's going to draw and decide top or bottom for another card. He ends up deciding to put his Razor Reflex back on top, and then he's probably going to arsenal that Steelblade Supremacy. I actually think that's actually a minor error. I would prefer to see the Razor Reflex in arsenal rather than the Supremacy, because the Razor only blocks for 2 while the Supremacy blocks for 3. But it's quite possible that he's not particularly fearing this. Okay, so then he may have actually sent the Razor to the bottom, though, in which case that makes more sense. Let's see if he draws the Razor in this hand. They're having a bit of lag here, unfortunately. I think Surrender is in Australia or New Zealand, which are quite strong regions for this game, quite frankly. Whereas Joker Jake, I believe, is not. Yes, there's a lag spike right now, and Surrender cannot see his cards. All right, so we're flipping and unflipping the cards here. This is a special tactic to this is a special tactic that sometimes resolves this. Unfortunately, it seems to have resolved it for me, but not for him. However, we're gonna wait a bit here, and if this persists, we'll have him try to disconnect and reconnect. In the meantime, though, let's talk a little bit about how the game is going. Right now, Surrender is hugely ahead. His opponent hasn't even attacked. Now, that doesn't always mean it's bad. Sometimes these Runeblade decks are just going to build up and try to end the game in one turn. But the real issue is Joker Jake has only even built up 2 rune chants. Almost all of his turns have just been passes. There's just so little going on that it's a very tough spot for him, and Surrender has 2 Dawnblade tokens, which means that his basic attack is now strength 5. It's getting difficult to defend against it. He's managing to slip in there with those attack reactions and still hit for large damage on some of these turns. So it's going to be interesting now. Ooh, man, he's going big. So he swings for 9, go again. If it hits, draw a card. Unfortunately, this might be the last turn where Surrender is going to have those Dawnblade counters, because he doesn't have the energy to play the Razor Reflex that is now in his hand. And without the energy to play that card, it's going to put him into a position where if Joker Jake goes for a big block, the Dawnblade will not hit, and then the part at the end there, at the beginning of your end phase, if Dawnblade did not hit this turn, remove all +1 counters from Dawnblade. So I think it's very possible we're going to see those counters going away, but Surrender still has a pretty decent spot. He will be able to arsenal that copy of Razor Reflex. I think if you're Joker Jake, I think you basically have to block this. So this Steelblade Supremacy is just too threatening. Until end of turn, target weapon gains +2 whenever this hits, draw a card. The attack is coming in at strength 9. I think you have to block it. It's painful. He's going to lose some good cards this time. I think he really doesn't want to block with this Mordred Tide, but under the circumstances, I think he's got to. Yep, and he decides, yeah, I got to do it. He's going to block 7. And then he plays a Reduce to Runechant. So this card costs 1 less for each Runechant he controls, so it costs 0. It doesn't cost a negative number. It will also give him another Runechant, and he finally manages to stop that Dawnblade. W. Harrison 1315, thank you for the follow. Storebrand Keith, thank you for the follow as well. Will says in chat, this game's over. 2 counters on Dawnblade, multiple rounds. Yeah, normally this is not what you want. Oh man, Joker Jake is going for it. He's going to use the tactic that I was talking about earlier, where he uses the Bloodsheath Skeleton to discount his next attack and non-attack action by 1 for each Runechant. Now that he has 3 Runechants, he can play Ascendancy for 0 because the 6 cost is discounted by 3 for the card text and 3 for the Skeleton. And he plays a Plunder Run first, so it has +3, so this is coming in for 8 with Dominate. And it looks like Pitch and block 6. Okay, so he takes 2, and that's going to give 2 Runechants. Then he draws a card from the Plunder Run. I'm actually very surprised by this. I think it would almost certainly have been correct for Surrender to throw his Braveforge Bracers into that block. If he had done that, he could have blocked all 8. That would have denied the 2 Runechants. It also would have denied the on-hit effect that allowed Joker Jake to draw another card. So I think that was unfortunate. I definitely would have wanted to use my armor there in that position. So interesting situation, but Surrender is still quite ahead on life. But Joker Jake's situation is looking a little better now that he managed to get the 3 Runechants back there, do a little bit of damage, and get a card into Arsenal. So he blocks, I think, for 2. The Razor comes out, and then a Reduce to Runechant red. We had a lag spike there, guys. So Reduce to Runechant came in, blocked that attack, and then Surrender opted to pass, so no hit this turn. Now we're going to see what happens here. Narc says, glad I came in on a Runeblade game. Rough spot for the Runeblade, though. Yeah, well, we'll see. This turn he has a choice. He can either play his Read the Runes to get more Runechants, or he could just play this Amplify the Arknight for 4+6 immediately. Oh man, he's gonna go even bigger. So I think I see his plan. He's going to pitch the Amplify the Arknight to activate his Mage Master Boots. That will give his next non-attack action he plays this turn go again. He'll use that to play the Read the Runes that he has in hand in order to get 2 more Runechants. Then he's at 6, and he can play the so he uses the Mage Master Boots. So then he'll play the Read the Runes. This just gives 2 Runechants. It has Go Again, and that means he's going to be able to play that Arknight Ascendancy from Arsenal for free because it costs 1 less to play for each Runechant he controls. And now 6 Runechants are coming in, and additionally, if it hits, it will create X Runechant tokens, where X is the damage dealt. So pretty strong here. We see a pitch to block 3 of the Runechants. There's still 3 more coming in, and those land. And then Braveforge Bracer is used along with a Twinning Blade to block a total of 5. That is going to stop the Arknight Ascendancy because this one wasn't buffed by the Plunder Run. But it did take another card pitched, and some damage on equipment. So Jake is not out of it yet. /played says, this is a cool turn, but AA for 5 is so weak here. Narc says, killed a Twinning though. Interestingly, on Surrender's turn, all he does is play a potion. Now that can actually be a fairly strong play under the right circumstances, just playing an energy potion. Okay, so he pitches 2 cards to use Grasp, making a Runechant. And he's just going to Arsenal. Both of these players are playing less aggressively than you might expect, but I think this is going to be a pretty strong turn here for Surrender. He's able to do Spoils of War first, swing, and then if this doesn't get blocked out, he can play the hit and run that he has in hand, and if it does get blocked out, and then swing again. If it does get blocked out, he'll be able to play that potion. So Spoils of War is a very strong card. This is a card from the Crucible of War expansion for Warrior. Your next weapon attack this turn gains +2 and go again. Whenever a weapon you control hits this turn, create 2 copper, and then of course it itself has go again. Coming in for 5. Oh man. And we're gonna see a huge play here, I feel. Yeah, this is going to be a big turn for Surrender. So now he plays Hit and Run, giving his next attack go again, and because he's attacked with a weapon this turn, his next attack gains +3. So now he's swinging in for 6. If this hits, he'll get a +1 counter, and he has go again, which is going to allow him to play that Time Snap potion that he has in hand even after this attack. So really strong turn here for Surrender. Not at all, I think, what Joker Jake is excited to see. On the plus side, the fact that he doesn't have that Twinning Blade is going to prevent a 3rd attack this turn, which could be devastating. So there's going to be a double block there. Oh, it was, yeah, so it was a block with 1 card plus a reduced to rune chant coming in there, stopping the Downblade counter. Ooh. Plunder Run played from Arsenal. Now we're going to see a Dread Triptych. If you've played a non-attack action card this turn, create a rune chant. So he gets 1. He gets 1 from Viserai's ability. If he deals arcane damage this turn, he'll get another 1, and if this hits, he'll get another 1 on top of that. It's also coming in for strength 7. Okay, so then the rune chants don't go blocked, so that means that's going to be another rune chant for him from Dread Triptych's ability. It says if you've dealt arcane damage this turn, but it's confusingly worded. It actually applies to that same attack. If the Dread Triptych attack itself hits, you get the rune chant. And then this is coming in for 7, and if it hits, it will be 1 more rune chant and a card draw from the Plunder Run. So pretty strong attack coming in here from Joker Jake. Double block, and it looks like Surrender is deciding whether or not he wants to use that last piece of his armor to block all 7. He's rethinking his defense. Okay, so he blocks all 7. He's using 2 cards from hand. That's going to be a red Overpower and a red Spoils, plus the Bracers. Blocks all 7. No damage gets through, so there won't be the card draw or the other rune chant. However, the initial rune chants did chip away at him a bit. It's now 21 life to 31. But Surrender is in a relatively... What? Okay, so he uses his tunic to play a Warrior's Valor red. Next weapon attack gains +3, and if this hits, the attack gains go again. Then he swings his Dawnblade, pitching a Flock of the Featherwalkers, coming in for 6. If it hits, go again. And he's going to have, if he does hit, even though he doesn't have energy, he could use his energy potion to get 2 energy, which could then potentially pay for Bracers plus swing for 4, threatening another Dawnblade counter. So another situation where Warrior is managing to put up some pretty good offense even from a relatively limited hand. You know, he had only reds. He had an all red hand, I believe, 4 red cards, and he blocked with 2 of them. But because he was able to play that energy potion earlier and he had his tunic, those kind of economy cards that are giving him that extra energy are going to allow him to still put up a pretty credible threat. Looks like it's going to be a triple block here. Triple block from Joker Jake. Blocks all 9, and that is... or it blocks 9, which is actually the overblock, and that is going to stop the attack. He would, I think, have gotten away if he had only blocked with 2 of those, but he was playing conservatively in case there was an attack reaction. Goes for an Amplify the Arcanite, coming in for 3 rune chants plus 6 damage. 3 rune chants land, and now we're going to see how Surrender defends against this damage. Quite frankly, he might be able to afford to take this damage. He has such a life lead, and that's exactly what he does, taking 6 damage, 21 to 22 now. Joker Jake has done a good job of tying up the life totals, but Surrender has a big advantage in terms of tempo, especially with those potions out. Interesting game here. Energy potion being used, and he's going to, it looks like he's going to play the Warrior's Valor that he has in hand. I wouldn't do that. He has a glint. Yeah, I think I would have saved the energy potion and actually pitched the Warrior's Valor. Because then you can save the energy potion for if you really have to use it, and I don't think he's going to play the Warrior's Valor at this phase. I think we're going to see a glint from Arsenal here, probably. Yeah, glint from Arsenal to give it go again, I think. Looks like he razors it. And then there's a glint. So he's going to land a hit for 6 with go again. He gets Dorinthea's ability, allowing him to swing again. So Dorinthea has a pretty basic ability. When your weapon attack hits, you may attack an additional time with that weapon this turn, but it's very effective at getting those Dawnblade swings going. So he's thinking now. It's probably now time to pitch that Warrior's Valor. Yeah, so he's going to use his Brave Forge Bracers. So this is 1 energy. Your next weapon attack this turn gains +1. Use this only if a weapon attack you control has hit this turn. With go again. So then he pitches yellow, 1 for the bracers, 1 for the swing, coming in for 4. And if this hits, he is going to get a +1 counter. So he's just maintaining the pressure with that sword and making it difficult for Joker Jake here to avoid spending cards on defense, because he really doesn't want to give his opponent that +1 counter. And with those 2 cards in hand, he could potentially pitch one of those and play the other. So this might actually end up being an attack for 7. Pretty scary situation. Looks like it's going to be a double block, blocking 6. Yeah, and he goes for it. The Stroke of Foresight, pitching 1 card, takes it up to 7. That is going to hit for 1 damage, and that will give him the +1 counter. It looks like he forgets to resolve the Stroke of Foresight effect. I don't think that's I don't really know how that works on whether or not that's mandatory. On Jake's turn, he plays a Read the Runes red, making 3 rune chants. That's one of the cards that I think he would have liked to see earlier in the game. But he now has a very strong defensive hand with 2 copies of Reduced to Rune Chant. He could potentially not only block some damage, but also create some rune chants while he's at it. This is going to be an interesting situation. On the other hand, there's a pretty good offense turn here from Surrender. He's going to be able to do that Red Warrior's Valor. Yeah, he pitches the Time Snap Potion, uses Warrior's Valor. Next weapon attack this turn gains +3, and if this hits, the attack gains go again. Coming in for 7 if it hits go again. Now, normally that would be a very awkward block, but he's going to be able to improve it with that Reduced to Rune Chant. Yeah, Reduced to Rune Chant red coming out. So he blocks 6, then plays Reduced to Rune Chant. So now he's over blocking it to, what is that? That's 9. I think we're going to see the Singing Steelblade come out to get something that's going to throw even more stats into there. Right now it's, I believe, 7 to 9. So he could use the Singing Steelblade and get a Iron Song or a Out for Blood or something, go up by 4 and get in, but then he's actually going to get stopped by the second Reduced to Rune Chant that's in hand, unless he gets like a red Overpower or a Rout, something really big. But if he does, he won't have the energy for another attack. So yeah, the card that he finds is Iron Song Response for a +3. So he's up to a total of 11 against Joker Jake's 9, and then the second Reduced to Rune Chant from hand, stopping the attack. I said earlier that it was a strong defensive hand from Joker Jake, and it really paid off. And so the counter on that Dawnblade will be lost. Yes, you can build up that counter if you get the 2 hits, but if you don't get any hits, you're going to lose it. And yeah, he loses it. Let's see what happens next. Yeah, no turn there from Joker Jake, of course. He just draws up. Warrior's Valor, he plays the blue Warrior's Valor, pitching a Shunt and now another blue Warrior's Valor, leaving him on 2 energy, which could let him play that Rout, one of the biggest attack reactions Warrior has. Rout can not only give +3, but can also send a card back to hand, and that could be just the ticket that he needs in order to stop this attack. It's gonna all depend on what here on what the strategy is for the block here from Joker Jake. But he has that Arknight Ascendancy in hand. He could potentially, if he uses that, man, he actually has a really good offensive hand. This is such a weird situation. Joker Jake has a really good offensive hand, but I I don't know. At 14 life, I don't know if he can afford to take a bunch of damage this turn. This is getting interesting. You know, I think that Surrender has definitely had the edge this game, but he's been getting slowly whittled down. We could potentially see a big comeback. If Joker Jake pulls this off, I'm going to be impressed. It looks like he's thinking now about what to do. Difficult situation. So if he doesn't block this, he will take 4 damage, 7 if Surrender plays the route for stats, and then Surrender would be able to swing again, probably for 4 after using the bolters. So that would be a total of 11 damage if there's really no defense. Probably he would play out the reduce at some point. I don't know. I might just take this at 22, though. It's going to be tough. We'll have to see how this goes. No, he's going for the block. Yeah, blocks for 4. Blocks for 4. Now, Surrender has to decide whether or not to route, and if he does route, does he want to send a card back or not? He's going to play the route. Yeah, he plays the route and returns the pummel. So now this is going to get +3, so it's up to 7, only 2 blocking. 7. Yeah, so he's going to take 5, and then he's going to save that pummel and the reduce to rune chant to stop the second attack. Yeah. So then it's going to be the bracer used for the +1. He pitches the hit and run, and he's coming in for 4. But now he's going to be able to block and then use the reduce to rune chant. Goes up to 6, which is just the amount that he needs in order to play that Arcanite Ascendancy without having anything to pitch for it, because he's at the 6 rune chants that he needs for the discount. I think probably he's going to play it. Yeah, there we go. 6 rune chants coming in, plus the 3rd copy of Arcanite Ascendancy coming in for 5 with Dominate. And if this hits, it will create X rune chants, where X is the damage dealt. 5 with Dominate. Now, Surrender could take this damage, but it's kind of double damage. Oh, he takes it. He takes all 5 damage, and then that is going to be essentially doubled, because we're now going to get the 5 rune chants. Very interesting. Well, he had the hit and run, but he didn't have a twinning, so he wasn't able to do a 3rd attack. I think if he had been able to do a 3rd attack, I would agree that he would probably just win. Oh, man. This is going to be a really tough block, though. I think you got to do a big block here. Oh, he only blocks for 5. Ugh. Oh, you know what, though? There isn't a go again source. He may have to do this to find a glint, and then there's the chance that that sink below is going to counter it. Yeah, sink. Oh, man. No. I'm not sure if he shuffled. I'm going to ask just to make sure. Why did he take the 1? Why didn't he sink? I would have played the sink below there 100% for certain. I have no idea why he let that get in. Oh, I have no idea why he let that get in. That could be... I think that could be a crucial mistake. So Joker Jake could have played this copy of Sink Below to defend an additional 4. It's kind of wasteful to play 4 to just block 1, but in this case it's not, because if that attack gets in, the turn is just getting so much more threatening with the turn is just getting so much more threatening with that Steelblade Supremacy giving a card draw and potentially allowing other things to continue. I would have played the Sink Below there. I mean, I don't know. He doesn't know what his opponent has in hand, but playing the Sink Below there would have stopped things, and it would have put it would have put him in a spot where he would be much more able to weather this. And now he's going to be attacked very aggressively, and I'm not sure he's going to get through it. So we're going to see a Flock of the Time Snap potion was used for another action. Flock of the Featherwalkers coming in for 5, and it gives a Quicken token, which will give the next attack go again. Joker Jake opts to take the 5 damage here, and then we're going to see Warrior's Valor used. Yeah, Warrior's Valor used here, and then we're going to see a swing, and that's going to be coming in for 7. And if it hits, it will be a +1 counter and a go again. Now, the go again from the from that Quicken token that the Flock created is going to be wasted here. But yeah, the old Steelblade Supremacy lasts all turn here. No block. Oh, he's playing. He uses Sync, and he's gonna try to top deck another defense reaction to stop the whole thing, and he misses it. That is game. Yep, he misses it. That was a bold play there at the end by Joker Jake. I think he knew if that hit, that was going to be the end. And he tries to use Sync below there with the effect here where he's going to put a card on the bottom and then draw a card. And his hope was to draw another defense reaction that he could then use to stop the attack completely. Doesn't pan out though, and he loses. Bold play. Sometimes you got to make big plays like that in order to give yourself a shot when the situation is this bad. However, I do think that Joker Jake would have been in a much stronger position if he had used the Sync below against that first attack after the Singing Steel Blade was played. I think he would be in a much stronger situation having stopped that first one. All right, well, that's going to do it, guys, for this game. Surrender is the winner, and we'll be moving on to the next round. That was the top 8, and that means we're going to move on to the top 4. So, interesting situation, and we will see what's happening next. I think I actually have another one of those games coming up tonight, and we will be streaming that shortly. So, yeah, it should be exciting. Let's see here. Just trying to figure out what the time is for the that game. I had some information. Oh, you know what? That's actually going to be tomorrow. All right. Well, interesting game there. Shiver. As I said, Shiver. Joker Jake had a rough start. Managed to whittle Surrender down a fair bit in the mid game, but ultimately got closed out. Interesting game. Victory to Surrender, and we'll see what happens in the rest of the event. Next game from this event will be streaming tomorrow, I believe. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you all later. More Flesh and Blood content at my blog, TowerNumberNine.com. Yeah, I have the Gauntlet tonight, Will. I was misremembering which event was which. So I'm going to be playing on the Gauntlet later and streaming tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. We will be back later with more from the ladder tournament. And, yeah.